We start recording. Welcome to the Juice and Pop Show at night. So got a little bit of news for y'all, but I gotta add a few tags to the video, or as I should say, to the live stream really quick. So give me, I guess, a minute or so, and you can fast forward if you're just now watching in the podcast a little bit on the later end. Let me add a few tags really quick. Alright, added a few tags real quick, chat. Oh, hold on, I gotta edit that for y'all too. Well, let y'all comment. 1 second. Let me change that too. That should be changed now. Let me make sure. Okay, you guys can comment now. Bang. My bad, quick little hiccup. We'll get straight to it. So welcome to the Juice and Pop Show at night. Episode 1. I need to put episode 1 in the corner or something for y'all, so y'all can see. But anyways, let's just get straight into it. We got Joe Burrow for the Cincinnati Bengals. He's going to be out for the remainder of the season. So now, Cincinnati Bengals are taking a really big hit that's more than likely going to put them out of division, possibilities, but still possible for playoff. It's very rare, and it's never been done before. And it's very rare that 3 teams from one division, which would be the AFC North, actually would partake in the actual playoffs. Now, the Cincinnati Bengals have a chance to do so, and also do so without having their quarterback. The other big thing here is Deshaun Watson is out for the remainder of the season with the shoulder injury. So you got a shoulder injury going to Watson. You have a thumb injury on the throwing hand and on the throwing shoulder for both athletes. And Joe Burrow with the thumb injury and the shoulder injury going to Deshaun Watson. Now, Deshaun Watson played 2 quarters, I do believe he played 2 quarters with the messed up shoulder, or maybe a quarter and a half. But at the end of the day, he still played with the hurt shoulder. Didn't think it was that actually hurt to that extent. And maybe it wasn't, but maybe as the progression of the game, maybe it got there. But more than likely, it probably was a season-ending injury when it happened, and kind of just finished the game out. Probably if he didn't, because I know this is what a lot of Browns fans are going to say, well, what happens if he didn't play the game? Could we have had him for playoffs if we make the playoffs? Because it's looking like you guys have a high chance of making the playoffs in the AFC North. Then you're at that dilemma like, could he have played a couple more games maybe in the playoffs if we made that run, or maybe missed one playoff game and then made the whole back end stretch if we made the AFC championship game, Super Bowl, and the divisional game. So there's a couple possibilities there. You're thinking the same exact thing if you're the Cincinnati Bengals, but 2 big injuries there. Another injury, quick little update. We got Justin Fields, good to go. Chicago Bears, that's good news for you guys, but it's also a question mark because the Bagnett guy, that's a quarterback, is playing pretty well. So you kind of don't really know what you got going on there. You want to see Fields play. You want to see Fields back. You want to see Fields kind of doing his thing. But then again, you don't know if Fields is going to come in and do his thing. You don't know if Fields is going to come in and do his thing to the extent that it's putting them out of the game, or does he do his thing with the team and the team balls out how the team can and actually perform pretty well? But with Bagnett being behind the center position currently, it's not like he's taking the job away from Fields, right? It's not like, okay, Fields is definitely losing his job right now. But Bagnett's also not giving the job away and saying, okay, third string can come in, or let's go make a trade for a backup for these 2 weeks if we really had to. It was kind of the sense of, okay, we kind of got a guy that can play right now, and he can play in the system a little bit, but we don't really know what we got. He has good moments, he has bad moments, but he's winning games. Dad has the arm wrestling background, so we'd always more likely got a cannon that's going to be strong and stay strong. Maybe not really worried about too much injury there, so y'all let me know what you think there. And then the whole reason why we're talking about the backup quarterbacks. And then Matthew Stafford with the thumb injury. He's good to go as well, by the way. Matthew Stafford good to go with the thumb injury. I believe it was to the throwing hand as well. Now, since we're talking about the backup quarterback situation, right, let's talk about what we got going on with the Browns. Now, RG3, hopefully I'm allowed to use this clip. Shout out to RG3 and the Ones. Make sure you guys go show love to RG3 and the Ones podcast. This is his podcast, breaking down what he feels is his opportunity to state what he feels, I guess. I really don't know how to break it down to you. He really just kicking you game. Like, listen, I'm available. All right, so let's watch. Hopefully, I'm allowed to use his video.
Deshaun Watson is going to be out for the remainder of the season after he's having shoulder
Why can't we see this?
surgery on a broken bone in his right shoulder. That's his throwing shoulder, people, okay? But it seems that he played 2.5 quarters with a high ankle sprain and a broken shoulder, and still was able to go lead the Cleveland Browns to victory against one of the best teams in the NFL, the Baltimore Ravens.
Okay, talk to him.
So that puts the Cleveland Browns in a very interesting situation. They've got 2 quarterbacks that they can turn to. One is DTR, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, the rookie from UCLA, and the other is PJ.
And let's not cut him off right here. Listen. Let's not cut him off. But I do just want to chime in real quick. DTR, you're playing good ball from what I've got to see. And it's not much, but from what I've got to see, you're playing good ball. All right, let's resume.
Walker. But I'm here to tell you they got a third option.
Okay.
And it's your boy.
I've listened to the majority
of
this
stuff. The Browns should sign me as their starting quarterback, and here's why. 1, at 33 years old, I understand the game better than I ever have in my entire career. I know how to slide, and I know when to slide, and that was a huge issue in my 8 years in the NFL. But I...
Now listen, when I first listened to this, I want to break this down just a few times because I don't want to get copyrighted fragments too bad, or if I'm not allowed to use this RG3. But 7 years, 8 years to learn. Well, really, 7 years give you the first year as a rookie. That's cool. 7 years to learn. Figured I'd just mess with him one time on that. But yeah, that's pretty funny.
And that was a huge issue in my 8 years in the NFL. But I've learned from my mistakes, and I'm ready to showcase that I can get it done. But here's the thing. Deshaun Watson went 14 for 14 in the second half against the Baltimore Ravens, and he used his legs to go out and scramble and extend plays.
Okay.
Of those 14 passes, there weren't really any of them that you would say were $230 million worthy passes. All they needed him to do was manage the game because of them dogs they got over there on defense, starting with Myles Garrett. Well, guess what? I didn't do that. I can go out there and manage a game for the Cleveland Browns and help them go on the Super Bowl run that they want to go on. But here's the second thing. I still run a 4.340, people, and I can throw the football 80 yards.
I think he boosted the numbers just a little bit. Look, 80 yards, probably like 65. Okay. 4.3, probably like 4.49. Okay. 4.5, 4.55, 4.6. Still fast. Okay. 4.5 probably. Right? 4.3s. Then he didn't even run 4.3s. Okay. Listen to me. Hold on, what camera angle was this one? Oh yeah, I like this one too. Let's go to this one. Listen to me. RG3 didn't even run a 4.3 in the college combine. or in the NFL Combine. I said in the college combine, coming out of Baylor, right? Now, can you get faster, or could you have not run your best time? Yes. So if he ran a 4.3 back then and still says he could run a 4.3 now, it's hard not to believe him. He's in a younger state than what Vic was when Vic ran his 40, and his 40 isn't much slower than what he ran. Now, can you run that on a consistency basis? Can you run it with pads on and, everything else that goes into it? I don't know. That's for RG3 to determine, but RG3's pretty determined that he can still get it done.
In every week like an NFL football player so I could be ready for moments just like this.
Okay.
So they need to hit my line. And the third thing is, for me, if Dorian Thompson-Robinson is going to be their guy and they don't bring me in to be the starter, then they should bring me in to be the backup so I can help him in the same ways that I helped Lamar Jackson. I learned 6 offenses in 8 years in the NFL. Nobody wants to talk about it, but learning a new offense has never been a problem for me. And I can help DTR with his decision-making, when to make certain plays, and truly to understand what he has to do as a quarterback with a defense like that on the other side of the football. So Cleveland, I've been there before, and I don't feel like I truly got the right amount of time to get it righteous with you. So let's do it now, and let's go on the Super Bowl run together.
Okay. Shout out to RG3 and the ones. So RG3 and the ones is basically saying, look, I want to get it in, okay? I want to get it in by any means. I want to make it happen. So if you're the Cincinnati Bengals, the Baltimore Ravens, and the Pittsburgh Steelers, are you cool with RG3 going and leading the Browns, or would you much rather it be Joe Flacco, which is who they just brought in for possibility? But he just had I think it was this morning, he went to a practice, but he left with no contract. But I think that they said he's still the highest candidate and whatnot. So I'm not too sure what's going on there. I'm good from what I seen from Joe Flacco, but then again, Joe Flacco looked a little bit better than Zach Allen in the offense from time to time. He looked like he could still throw the football, make solid reads. I don't know. If you're a Browns fan, do you want RG3 or do you want Joe Flacco? Who would you rather bring in and give give the backup role to? And then just see. I mean, if he's saying he's running a 4.3 and throwing the ball 80 yards, I kind of just want to bring you in for a practice. Let me see. Let me see something. Let me see what we're working with. Because if we're working with anything remotely close to what you're talking about and how comfortable you're feeling with how well you can manage the game, we're in business. Listen, we're in business because at that point, I found my starting quarterback. At that point, I found my starting quarterback because DTR is not going to be able to run that offense as comfortable. But DTR does not look bad. So that is no disrespect and no shade to DTR. And I am not mad if they stay exactly where they're at and y'all have perfect belief in DTR and you guys choose to allow DTR to play. But let me know if how do the Cincinnati Browns fans really feel about that? Because I'm a Steelers fan. I'm not fond of that. I'm cool with y'all keeping DTR, and that's no disrespect, DTR, but you're younger. I ain't seen too much from you. If you torch us up in the playoffs, or however shake out, it is what it is. But I could see RG3 doing it, and I'm cool on that. I'm cool. I'm cool on that. All right, let me talk about something else. Oh, I do want to show you guys something real quick. I don't have it pulled up, but I want to talk about Josh Jacobs' cleats that he wore on this game this week. So Josh Jacobs wore these Ghostbuster cleats. Fire, okay? Shoes were crazy. All right, check them out. Boom. Can I show here? Check them out. Get Josh Jacobs on eBay. I'm not promoting his eBay. I'm sorry, yo. But look, check him out. Check him out. Tell me them are not clean. And then if you guys were to look at this version of it, on the on foot version, that's the version y'all want to see. I got y'all. On feet, they look nice. On feet, they look nice. I thought they were super tough cleats. I like the little the whatchamacallit in the back. It reminds me of kind of like when Chad Johnson and T.O. was in the league, because there's a lot of touchdown celebrations being done, and they're allowed to, get away with them a lot more than usual now. But we're starting to see a lot more drip. We're starting to see a lot more visors in the league. We're starting to see a lot more cleats, a lot more players willing to take fines. And hopefully it becomes to the point to where there's 1,000 NFL athletes over the last, decade or 2 decades of just different athletes that have repeatedly taken fines or just taken fines and knowingly taken fines, whether they supported good causes or just a cause of their own or just a cause for someone in their family, but you're not even realizing it's someone in their family, or just for a particular reason, but you're not asking, why they're wearing that. You're just, oh, okay. You're assuming they're trying to do something. Maybe they want to. And that's also on them. You guys got to understand, act like you've been here before. They've never been there before. They have a 10-year career there if they are blessed and if they are lucky. And guess what? He was there for 10 years. He was never really there before. Like, I get what you're saying. Oh, yeah, you've played a game and such, whatever. But you've never really been there before. Think about it. You play the Chiefs. If you're not in their division and you're on the NFC, you may play the Chiefs 2, 3, 4 times in 5 to 10 years. And then you may play the Chiefs once at their stadium, once at your stadium, and then in Germany. All 3 times, first time. But people are not understanding it and looking at it that way. And then when you're playing the rivalry games, to me, shoot, I definitely want to do something now. I definitely want to do something now. Like, yeah, for sure. Family here. You know what I mean? Now family at that game. So it's like, man, let's just let the league be a little free. And views would probably quadruple, make a lot more money. And NFL players might start being like NBA players, and maybe not with the money situation, because you guys can still control that, honestly. You can still control that with the ownerships and how it's ran still. You can still control that, but, be a little bit more lenient. But just allow the players to get their faces out there more and more recognition, allow helmets to come off a little bit more. Stuff like that, man. Like, helmets on 24/7, if they're not marketing themselves and doing other stuff like that, it makes it real hard. For them to, really get busy. But, that's just my one and two. I want to talk about a couple of little things real quick on the pod. Let's talk about a couple of the things real quick. Now, Javonte Davis had a little tweet at Devin Haney. He said, Haney said, I don't know if this is actual tweets, but it seems like it was real. I ain't gonna lie. It seemed like it was real when I seen it. Haney said something like, I should have offered him 10%, talking about Shakur Stevenson. And then I guess Javonte Davis retweeted it, quoted it or something, and said, that's what I'm offering you, son. And when it said son, that made me think it was really Haney. I'm not gonna lie it was really him talking to Haney, being Javonte Davis. So that's what made it funny to me, and at least made me believe into it for a second, and buy into it, so y'all can let me know if I got that's funny though. But let's bounce over to something else, and I'll just say this, I got Tank, but I like the work out of Haney a lot, but also. It just depends their size and person. I'd have to look up a couple videos. I'll get back to y'all on that one maybe. If the fight ever happens, then y'all will get my prediction on that one. Oh yeah. Draymond Green. Oh my goodness, Draymond Green. So Draymond Green decided to pull. You see Rudy Gobert right here. I don't think I'm allowed to actually play this video, so I'm not going to. But coaches got involved, and here's a couple of freeze frames, and then ended up dragging out to about this area, which was maybe 8 seconds worth, but maybe 4 or 5 seconds worth was not needed. So does Draymond Green get along with Rudy? And Rudy, do you get along with Draymond? What y'all got going? What y'all got going? Oh, that was funny to me. And the reason why it was funny to me was because it was just like, okay, Draymond's known for doing wilds, but he wasn't doing nothing wild because right before that, he was defending his player because Rudy Gobert was approaching his player from his blind side. Now that's slow. That's dead. So now he wanted to prove a point to him that was not going down. Once he heard the whistle, that's cool. I still want you to be aware that that's not happening. Okay, that's just not happening. But you gotta know Draymond Green. Draymond Green not going for that. He hasn't been going for that ever in his NBA career. So if he's been acting like that since the beginning of his career to now, it's not no gimmick. That's just Draymond Green. So then we all know that's how Draymond Green gonna react. He's gonna overreact too. So if he see that and it's his blind side and it's his point, it's over with. You don't think he's gonna grab you up? All right. I mean, I don't know what else y'all expect from that situation, but that's personally just me. I'm expecting Draymond Green I was expecting Draymond Green to walk up and just push him, but he's facing this way. Draymond Green's coming from behind him from the angle on the side, so it's kind of like I can grab you and turn you, but that's not really gonna do the same thing. So I'm more than less like reacting in the exact moment, and right now you're towering over my guard, so neck, crank, chokehold, drag. Let me escort you. No, I don't know. I don't need none of. I don't care. I'm escorting you to your bench. I'm escorting you over here. Okay. I'm escorting you to your bench. Like, come with me. You have no choice. Okay. That was funny to see. Rudy Gobert was. What is he doing? What is he doing? Acting like Rudy Gobert wasn't just trying to jump into the middle of a situation. So it was funny to see that because it was more so Rudy Gobert trying to instantly diffuse and let it go because he knew that whoever had him was not about to let go. So that was real funny for me to see on a thinking that it was a super serious moment, and then it looked like it was comical while it was happening, because it was Draymond Green running up after Rudy Gobert overtowers a guard, but the way that Draymond Green grabbed him was like instant snatch, crank, drag. You have no control of where you're gonna go right now. And then Rudy Gobert was just he's carrying me at this point. Draymond Green kept carrying him, and it was just like, fight back, Rudy. But anyways, let me jump into a couple of other things real quick. So I also want to talk about 4 catches for 116 yards off of 7 targets for Mr. Odell Beckham Jr. You know, shout out to the man, himself. Shout out to Odell. Good work, Odell. A lot of people are saying this is his best performance in since 2019, I do believe. I I wouldn't say that this is his best performance since 2019. I would say that this is a very good performance. I would say this is one of his best performances that he's had in a very long time, for sure. Like statistic wise, and how it looked after the catch, how it looked for him. It looked good for Odell. I liked what I seen out of Odell. I think Odell liked what he seen out of himself on the highlight tape. And I think that's very good for a superstar caliber player's confidence when they're used to having high confidence, and some things just keep kicking their confidence down, even though you try to have the highest confidence in the world. And little things like that stuff really helps. That's a kicker. That's a kicker, and I hope and I believe that it can help Odell become the athlete that he wants to keep presenting himself to be. Not just having this aura about him on the field and having that presence. He still has that. But having the game factor. He has that ability still, but he hasn't been able to show it for a long time. Now, this was one of the games that he got to actually show that. So, shout out to Odell for being able to display that he still has some juice left in him. But I would say the San Francisco performance. I would say the San Francisco performance for me personally. We're going to go through the game logs real quick, and we're going to go all the way back to the 2019 year. And I believe he had 2, 3, maybe 4 good games that year too. But let's go back a couple of years in the game logs real quick, and let's just check out a couple of Odell stats, man. Shout out to Odell for being able to, get back in that column again. That column of feeling good. Because he looked geeked, man. He looked geeked on the sidelines. It was cool to see. He looked excited. It was cool. It was cool to see. Cannot lie. It was nice to see him enjoying himself too. That was another thing that was nice to see, because it. So this is the other thing for me about Odell. Odell is a super gifted athlete that gets ridiculed a little bit more, and especially speaking on myself too, just because he's so talented. And I hate when he drops the easy passes, just how Mike Evans dropped one in the end zone, right? I'm super mad. But then guess what? He's that kind of player that you're gonna give the ball to on the next drive in the red zone, and 30 yards away, 40 yards away, 50 yards away, or 60 yards away. You're still going to give him the ball, and you're still going to give him the same opportunity, because guess what? He's going to take that post for 60. He can take a slant for 40. He can take a dig. Turn it from 8-9, crank it all the way up for 35, 40, or somehow get to the sideline, crank it all the way up. Like, there's so many different elements that come into a superstar's game that I just think that it's really key that Odell got to feel that in the game again for himself, simply because he's that, and we're going to touch right back on base now. He's that athlete that's super joyful on the side of the field. He has that aura on the field, but he doesnn't have it in the end game. For the stats against the safeties and against the DBs, he's not pulling, the same double coverages as he once was, but he still is pulling double coverages. But teams aren't scheming around him and aren't terrified of him as they once were. So for him to get that feeling back that, okay. Next week they might. But if they don't, I'm right back. I'm right back to this. And he might go 3 catches for 68 yards. 3 catches for 82 yards. 4 catches for 82 yards. Great game. Back to the wheels turning. So let's check out some of these stats real quick. Now, 40, 56, 49, 34. Yeah, he hasn't had anything over 60. 5 catches for 56 and a touchdown. He had 2 touchdowns in these games, which is nice. But it's still just not Odell. Any Odell performances. So let's go to 2021. Did not participate 2020. He had 9 catches for 113 yards, no touchdown in the San Francisco game. I thought this was a great game for him. Yeah, I thought that this was probably one of his better games. I'm not gonna lie to you. I thought that that was one of his better games that he's had in his NFL career in general as well. That was a tough defense to work against. That was a tough defense to work against. So I commend you for, that nice little performance right there, Odell. I'm not going to lie. But other than that, he had, 10 targets, 5 catches for 81 yards and a touchdown. And then 5 for 79, 5 for 77, 6 for 77. But you're not getting no splash. You're not getting no superstar effect. You're not getting no presence, game plan, and everything in between. Now we go into the 2020 season. Doesn't have one of his better years, kind of how this season's going right now for the Baltimore Ravens. Then we jump back to 2019. I believe this was the year that we just looked at, right? Yeah, 2018 is the season where we get money, right? Yeah. Now this is what Odell wants to get back to. 8 catches for 143 yards, 8 catches for 131, 8 catches for 136, 11 catches for 111. Odell wants to get back to being back to that caliber receiver. 11, 12, 13, 14, even all the way up to 17 yards per reception. Now, can Odell get back there? I don't know. But he didn't look bad. And he still looks like he's got some juice, so we'll see. We'll take a little intermission, but we're not going to take one. We're just going to jump straight into the next Baltimore Ravens thing, which is Lamar Jackson cranking up at number 4. And he's probably going to get to Russell Wilson. And Russell Wilson is currently playing, but he's probably going to get Russell Wilson. He's probably going to get Russell Wilson while they're playing because he's not that far behind. And he might try to get Russell Wilson this season. If he gets Russell Wilson this season, that would be nice. And I think that he could do that. I think he could get Russell Wilson this season. I really do. I don't see why he couldn't get Russell Wilson this season unless Russell Wilson just starts doing some Russell Wilson things. But he doesn't really ever rush for too many yards anyways. Just a lot of average attempts or, just busted plays here and there or, making something shake on his own. But he doesn't really try to run for too much anyways. He'd rather just go out of bounds and, play the next play. So I can see Lamar Jackson getting that and creeping up into number 3. Now, next season is when he can get Cam Newton. But I don't know if Mike Vick can be next season. Mike Vick would be tough for next season. But it would be doable for next season. It would be doable for next season. But it would be tough. He could probably do it in about 120 games, 110 games, something like that. I don't know. Y'all let me know, something around there. Anything else that I got to talk about? I had some, and the last thing that I had to talk about was I had some little random news, about Ryan Reynolds. But I really don't really care too much to, go into it. But we can go into it real quick for a second. It's resurfacing a whole lot right now that Ryan Reynolds didn't. I guess a quote came out that he said was Ryan Reynolds said, and I don't know if this is just resurfacing now and it's getting a lot of attention or whatnot, but he said, I didn't get to know Wesley Snipes. I just got to know Blade. And what that means is Wesley Snipes was never really Wesley Snipes on set or anywhere else. Wesley Snipes was more than likely just Blade 24/7. If you've ever seen any interviews about anything about the movie, then you would know that as well. Everyone from the interview says that. But people say Wesley Snipes is really hard to work with and a lot of other things. But then some people say really good things about Wesley Snipes. But I feel like you're always going to get that with people too. It kind of just depends, I guess, if you like the person or not too. But I don't have too much to say on it. It would be really nice because Blade was a really good movie. It wasn't a really good movie, but it was a really good movie because like Blade was a super dope character. Ryan Reynolds helped that movie tremendously, but they used to bump heads on set because Ryan Reynolds would improv and would make, stuff happen on sets. Like he would show up to set, have a script, and supposed to say, "How are you doing today?" And then, but he goes, "How are you doing today?" And he just adds something random to it, or just whatever the case is, right? So he would add those little things, and I guess it would make Wesley Snipes upset because he kind of just wants to stick to the script. And they were giving more. So, for example, a movie time could be an hour and 30 minutes. And then by the end of the movie, it can end up being an hour and 45 minutes. But you don't know as a fan watching the movie that they added 15 minutes of improv throughout the movie for someone else. Or just certain things like that can happen. And that can just make other actors upset or actresses upset. It's the same thing as like if you're an artist and the song's 2 minutes long, and next thing you know, they send it back to you and now it's 3 minutes long. How Eminem done Busta Rhymes. So it's like people can look at it certain ways and take it certain ways, I think, especially as actors and actresses, and I don't think there's no right, no wrong way to take it. I would have liked to see Joe Rogan and Wesley Snipes fight. Would y'all? That'd have been yeah. That'd have been a head cracker. Because I don't know if Wesley Snipes can fight. And even all the way back then, Joe Rogan was heavy into martial arts. So, in order to, he'd had to train for a while. He'd have to, it had to been at least a 8 to 9 month wait before they fought. And then Joe Rogan would just got better at that time too. I don't know. It'd have been tough. It'd have been tough for Wesley. Who would y'all have had? Joe Rogan or Wesley Snipes back then? I don't know. I think Joe had hair back then too. I don't know. It might have been bad. That was young Joe too. That was younger Joe too. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going. I don't know if I'm going against younger Joe. But I think that's all I have. I believe that is all I have for the night show of episode 1. We're going to cover some more things tomorrow. I don't know what we're going to cover tomorrow. We're going to do a show in the day, and then we're going to have a night show. We're going to smoke, have some fun with y'all, chop it up. Hopefully cut this into videos, drop some of these videos tomorrow or the next day. But yeah, episode 1 at night of the Juice and Pop Show.